You know what? The funny thing is, when a lot of people were in Egypt, when they was with their oppressors, they didn't want to rise up against their oppressors. But the moment God raised up someone to bring people and to lead them out from Egypt and bring them to the promised land, they don't mind rising up against them and rising up against the Lord, but they wouldn't dare rise up against Pharaoh. They didn't want to move. They was too scared to move against the oppressor. They was too scared to do anything. But they don't mind rising up the person that God chose to move. They don't mind rising up against God and disobeying God. They don't mind doing any of that. But where was all that when you was in Egypt? Where was all that ego? Where was all that mouth? Where was all that you want to do? And you didn't rebel against your oppressor. You didn't rebel against the Pharaoh. You didn't rebel against them. You were quiet. But the moment God led you out, then that's when you wanted to rebel. That's when you wanted to turn away. That's when you had all the mouth and got all the mouth then. I wish you would go back and look and see what happened to those who rose up. Go back and look. You got people like that today. They didn't want to move when God said move. They didn't want to do the different things. They didn't want to go through the process. They didn't want to go through what Moses had to go through in order to get the people to lead them out of Egypt. But the moment he got them and led them out of Egypt, because he was listening to God's voice, he listened to him. But the moment he led them out and across the Red Sea, they wanted to rebel, not only against him, but against God. And that's what people didn't understand. They had a lot of mouth. They complained about so much, but they didn't complain when they was in Egypt. They didn't complain when they was a slave underneath the Pharaoh. They wouldn't dare complain. They got whipped into shape. They was beaten. They didn't complain about nothing. Not even the bread. But the moment they got free, that's when they wanted to complain. That's when they wanted to talk about this and that and refuse to do this and that. And oh, it was better to be back in Egypt. Well, go to Egypt. But stop trying to take everybody else with you. Because those who want to be free, they should remain free. Don't follow somebody who has who has that slave mentality, who don't want to break free from the chains that God has already broken free of them. If they want to go back to Egypt, let them. But don't follow a person who's bound. Don't follow them and go back to Egypt. Let them go back. But you remain free.